On Thursday evening, we decided to head out from Sioux Falls and make our way to Custer. Tyler was nice enough to grab me a coffee before we left, and we had a couple pit stops here and there. And one of them, of course, was Wall Drug, because there's a million billboards along the way, and sadly it was closed by the time we got there. But we knew that it would be closed on our way back because it was going to be Easter Sunday. So we did a little window shopping and got back on the road. After about 6 hours, including our pit stops, we were at our destination. We decided to stay at a cute little Airbnb in Custer. It was inexpensive and it was close enough to all the things we wanted to do to make it really worthwhile. We also had the chance to cook our own meals, which was nice because then we didn't have to eat out every single time. On Friday morning, we went to Wind Cave National Park and we had a nice snowy drive. It's crazy how much the weather changed while we were on this trip just for one weekend. It was pretty chilly this day, but the cave stays at about the same temperature, so we were able to wear, hoodies and vests and feel totally fine. One of the coolest things about this tour is that they talked about the early explorers who found this cave and mapped it out in the late 1800s, and one of them was named Alvin, and he was 17 years old, and he signed ZUQ right there that you can see. And at one point they did turn off all the lights and show us what it would be like to explore the cave back then. We also had a chance to see some of this frostwork and cave popcorn, as well as boxwork, which is that stuff that you see kind of up there. This was the fairgrounds tour, and it took about an hour and a half. And once we were done, we went back on the original elevator. And on our way out, we walked on this decontamination mat to protect the bats from white nose syndrome. And then Tyler and I were really eager to go to the wildlife loop in Custer State Park.
I wish it was.
Yeah.
We're just seeing its rear.
Yeah, I've just been taking videos. Ooh. So as you can see, I had a little bit of trouble every once in a while just thinking that I was recording and then I wasn't. But I did manage to get some wildlife shots. And in general, just seeing the mountains, the hills, the trees was all super fun. It's funny because these are some of the first buffalo that we saw, and you never know if you're gonna actually see them a lot closer, but eventually we did, so I was really happy with these shots here, and stay tuned because we're gonna do the wildlife loop again, spoiler alert. But then we stopped at the visitor center. We got to compare our weight to the weight of a buffalo, which was cool, and honestly the whole place was really interactive and fun. And it was nice to talk to a ranger and get some more information on the status of the park. We went back to the Airbnb and cooked some lunch and enjoyed our nice little view. And then we were ready to go explore. So we went to the Black Hills National Forest, and as you can see, we got some snowy weather. And we really wanted to see Needle's Eye Tunnel, which normally you drive through, but this road was closed because of the wintry conditions. So we actually got to walk. And honestly, that part was actually super, super cool, and it ended up, I think, being like a 2-mile walk back and forth. And we got to be on the road because no cars were going to come either way, and that view was amazing. But it was a pretty unique experience because normally cars would be going through here, so of course you couldn't walk through it because a car alone can't really squeeze through there with very much extra room. So we got to see that up close and check out some good views. And although it was snowy, we warmed up along the way, and it was super, super fun. Plus, we were the only people there because no one else really wanted to do it. We also didn't really see any ice along the way, so cars probably could have been going through it, but it worked out well for us. Sylvan Lake is right there, so we took a stop there, and it was pretty icy and wintry, but it was a cool stop. For dinner, we did go out this night, and we went to Custer Wolf. And this was a very great local spot. We got a little chance to see what the locals were like, and we had some good food too. And the next morning, I was so excited for this. Miner's Cup coffee. I got an iced vanilla latte, and it was so good, and I had been thinking about this basically the whole trip. Other than, of course, seeing all the scenes and animals and stuff. So as you can see, this next day was a lot sunnier, and it's a different lake. I don't remember exactly which one, but it was more like summer. And even though we did see wildlife the first time, we wanted to do the wildlife loop again. And let me just say, I am so glad we did. First of all, we saw so many deer.
That's why I probably thought they were donkeys.
And what I was talking about there is that they kind of look like donkeys just because they have such big fluffy ears and they're just kind of fluffy in general. But we saw them a lot, so that was kind of a cute little sight because they look different than the deer we have in Minnesota. And of course, the prairie dogs. And then we saw some more buffalo, and I just loved how the colors were popping out, you know, the rusty color with the green. It was just really cool to see. And then they started running. I don't know if this was the zoomies or what, but it was kind of crazy, and I'm just glad they weren't coming towards us. But it was almost like a mini stampede, and it kind of started out of nowhere. They just started running. Not only that, we thought that was good enough, but then as we were leaving, there were just tons of buffalo right by the other entrance, which was kind of funny because if you had come there and you needed to pay, good luck with that. But luckily we were leaving and we already had our pass for the weekend, so we just got to chill and watch them lick dirt. After that, we went on a hike. So we went to Lover's Leap Trail, which was a suggestion of the park ranger and one that Tyler had already kind of had his eye on, so that was just good confirmation that we should go do it. You can either go starting off really steep or end really steep, and we decided to kind of get that out of the way early, and that was definitely worth it. Along the way, we warmed up quite a bit, and I actually took my jacket off, and they had a lot of cool like rocky areas, and I just thought that was kind of a cool rock. Don't worry, I didn't take it. There were tons of little bridges and stone paths to cross this little creek, which was fun. After the 4-mile hike, we were done and ready to go to Mount Rushmore. Neither of us had ever been here, and we thought that we would be underwhelmed, but we were actually really impressed. It was just different to see it in person. They also have a museum that you can go in and learn more about how it was made, which I didn't really know anything about it beforehand, so it was cool to learn more and see how they took just rocks and turned them into sculptures. And we got to see some wildlife. So, I mean, come on, it's everywhere. And these are all the people that worked on it. After that, we went to downtown Keystone because we were kind of nearby, and so this was kind of like a roadside thing, just with chainsaw art. And they had this map of different things that you can do in Keystone, so we saw some old buildings that weren't really open. We did stop at the taffy shop, and I got just like half a pound of taffy from the sweetest old lady. But I saved most of that for later because we were going to the Purple Pie place back in Custer. This was their first weekend being open, so I'm glad that we didn't miss that. A lot of other things were closed just because it was a little too early in the season, but we were able to go here, and we took it to go, but that's kind of what the inside looked like, and if it was nicer out, we probably would have sat outside. But Tyler got a peanut butter pie, and I got strawberry rhubarb. Then we went back to the Airbnb and had some dinner and played Catan just for our final night there. And the next day in Rapid City, we stopped at the Dinosaur Park, which is just super old and random, but we thought, hey, why not? It kind of seems like a must-see in Rapid City, so. And then after that, we decided to explore the rest of the town, and they have a bunch of statues of different presidents. And they have this art alley where they kind of encourage people to graffiti. And then after just a little more driving, we got to go to Badlands National Park. We started off by doing Notch Trail, which isn't really a long hike at all, but it does say to wear sturdy boots, and we both wear tennis shoes, and we ended up being okay. There were some cactus, but it was okay. It was crazy windy, but we managed to get through and see some really pretty views. And once that blue sky kind of peeked through, that was awesome. Another cool part of the trail was this ladder that actually helped you go up and down this steeper section. So that was kind of fun. We only did it on the way down because we found a different way up, but it ended up being a really cool experience. After that, we stopped at the visitor center and there was some cool stuff in there, and I ended up getting this pin for my mom, and then we started the scenic drive. We kind of joked about it because in the map there was a quote about how you never know what to expect around every corner of the Badlands or whatever. And it was true. Like, it just became a funny thing because every time we turned the corner there was something new to look at. It looked somehow unique and different than what we had just seen, and we thought it was over like 3 different times, but it wasn't. And check out those bighorn sheep. We were so glad that the car in front of us had already been stopped and looking at them, because then we for sure didn't miss them. Because that was kind of a dream come true. I had been saying that I wanted to see some. And yet again, another new thing, there were some colorful yellow and red kind of sunset looking hills. And this high peak was so windy. And then kind of on the way out, we saw some more prairie dogs, which was fun. They were kind of blowing around in the wind. And then ultimately it was time to head back, so we continued on our way to Sioux Falls. It was a great first trip for us to take together, and thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like this video and leave a comment and subscribe for more DIYs, coffees, and adventures.